Hey everybody, I'm Doug and that's Connor, and this is your favorite school district podcast, the Bethel School District Presents. Today we have a great show for you. We're going to be talking about All Bethel Community Day, which is coming up at the end of this week, and joining us around the table are Deborah Earl McDonald and Lynette McKenna, both part of the executive team and event coordinators for ABC Day. And also here is friend of the pod, Darius Alexander, our Director of Community Connections.
Indeed, that's quite the lineup we have today, but before we dive into all things ABC Day, I do have a question for the table. ABC Day is one of the huge events every year. Everyone looks forward to it, but it got me thinking about other big events that we've all attended, and I'm curious, and I'm going to ask everyone to go around the horn and tell us what's the biggest or coolest event you've been to, obviously outside of ABC Day, which I'm sure is number one in all of our hearts. Other than ABC Day, though, what's the cool event you've been to? Let's start with you, Darius.
I will go with Bruno Mars' concert at the Gorge. It was my first time there. We camped out, we hung out, we marched to the stage area. It was amazing, and those are all the details I'm going to give.
That does sound amazing. And Lynette, what about you? Big events?
Well, staying on the concert theme, U2 was probably my highlight. Huge event, and of course they have a great stage presence. Just a ton of moving parts that go on with their concert productions.
And where did you see Bono and the boys perform?
A couple different places.
Oh, wow, we got a super fan.
Super fan. So at the Kingdom before it was destroyed, and then also at Seahawks Stadium. I don't know what it was called at the time.
Deborah, what about you? Round us out. What's your big event?
Well, for me, I think it's being part of the Grand Business Association's scholarship event every year. I love it. I love being a part of it, and it's just a way for us to give back to the kids in scholarship form.
And shout out to all of our best scholars. They are amazing. We value them. And Doug, I'm not letting you off the hook. What's your big event? I'm sure you've been to a Teletubbies taping or something like that.
Well, thanks for including me. You said rounding us out, and I thought I was going to have to make some fifth wheel kind of joke here, which I'm going to make anyway. I'm going to go with pretty much any time I get to go up to the UW Husky Stadium and watch my kid who's in the marching band perform on that field. I've done it for 2 years now, and this will be my third season being up there for every single home game. And it's always just a great time. The greatest setting in college football, as they say, and when your kid's on the field, it's even better.
Yeah, and go Cougs, by the way. So,
Go Cougs.
So anyway, back to what we're here to talk about. Way back in 2009, the first ever ABC Day kicked off. The event was established to give Bethel students and community members a venue to showcase their talents, to honor our local military service members, and to connect families with school, business, and community resources. The event has grown by leaps and bounds over the years, and we're excited for the next one on October 5th. For someone who has never been to ABC Day, can you describe what the event's like?
Absolutely. If you look at ABC Day, it has grown into its own entity at this point. It is a cross between the Pierce County Fair, but not as large as the Western Washington State Fair. We're offering a lot of the same things. We're offering vendors. We're offering characters. We're offering an opportunity to see our local police and fire department. It's amazing.
It is indeed. If you haven't been there, first, what's wrong with you? And second, get to this year's event because it's unmissable.
I love it because it's a free event for the community. So there's no entrance fee for anybody who wants to come. There's lots of food trucks. There's affordable food. We've had parades in the past. Obstacle courses that the fire department offers for the little kids. It's amazing. The kids are incredible. They're happy. They look forward to it. Parents can bring their entire family. It's an affordable thing to do.
Yeah, part of the cool thing is that it kind of grows and changes as the community grows and changes. So 1 or 2 years there was a 5K that happened because somebody wanted to organize that, and there's so many things happening. Darius, let's kick it over to you. ABC Day, as we've said, it's a massive event. I really like, Deborah, how you said compared it to some of the local fairs. What is going on behind the scenes to plan for this thing, and how early do you all get started?
This year we got started in January, and we learned along the way. So going into next year, we'll be starting the planning the week after ABC Day of this year. What I love the most about what goes on behind the scenes, last year when I was new to this role and also being a Bethel kid myself, of going to the meetings and seeing all the community members, community-based organizations, school staff, kids, volunteers that just show up to really do something for our community. I grew up going to the Taste of Tacoma, Bite of Seattle, Things on Base, and things like that. So just seeing our community come together and all the people that are putting in work and being creative and making it their own, that's the biggest part of what's going on behind the scenes that stands out to me.
Lynette or Deborah, one of you want to jump in on some of that behind-the-scenes planning? What's that look like when you get started?
Exhausting, Lynette, would you say? At the end of the
To
time?
say the least.
To say the least, at the end of everything?
Behind the scenes, tons of meetings, on-site evaluations. We have to map out where all the tables are. We usually have between 100 and 200 vendors, so we have to put their locations throughout either school, because sometimes it's at Bethel, sometimes it's at GK. And so we have to have logistics for both. All of that takes time, effort, and then we have communications between all of the members on the board and volunteer coordination, procurement of vendors, lots of things that happen that you don't necessarily see on the day of.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Parking, the logistics of having a Black Hawk helicopter, having someone who's coming in to parachute with the team, takes a lot.
I can imagine. And another thing you have is special guests. ABC Day is known for having some really amazing special guests, including the Seahawks mascot. Blitz has been there. There's always superheroes. We've had members of Congress there, and that's not even talking about our own leadership here, the superintendent, our board of directors. What can people expect this year in terms of special guests?
I can speak to that. So we've had Rosie Thun, who is a skydiver. She's been there for a number of years. She was amazing jumping with a friend of hers last year. This year, she is bringing, I believe, 3 or 4 additional jumpers.
Oh, wow.
They're going to be landing in the football field, so that's going to be really exciting. My personal story with Rosie is that when I jumped out of an airplane, she was my jump master. And so I had a little personal connection with her and was able to kind of rekindle that a little bit last year when she jumped.
Yeah, Rosie is amazing, and we love that every year seeing her come down. It's always a treat.
And we also have the 501st Legion stormtroopers, Star Wars stormtroopers that are going to be coming. We had 2 last year. We have how many this year, Deborah?
So far, they've told me that there are 5, but we're getting a final list on how many would like to participate. And they actually come all the way from Eastern Washington.
Wow.
To come to the event, donating their time.
Very cool.
And this year and last year, there's an amazing student presence, so we've really been intentional about trying to make sure we're pushing that, making sure we're highlighting what our kids are doing in our schools. One of the biggest parts of ABC Day is our culinary program from Challenger with Mr. Foster. So the kids come out and they plan their own menu around what we have available at the food trucks to make sure that they're available and we're not competing, but they get to build their own business and really feel what it's like to go from small foods to a restaurant to catering to understand the business. The health department comes in and checks to make sure what they're doing. And what Mr. Foster shared at our meeting yesterday is that when they came in to test the kids, they passed everything. And then he also pushed of saying, yeah, go ahead and give them a pop quiz on how things go, and that they aced it with 100%.
That's awesome. I love seeing Lenny and the kids out there. That's always a fun part. Every year there's something I see there that I love. Connor and I have gotten multiple years of videos and photos and things like that. We're going to go around the table again. What is some of the favorite things that you have seen at ABC Day over the years? I guess I'll go first to give you all time to think. There was a number of years, and I don't know if he's still doing it, but there was a guy that had come from the community, and he made balloon animals for the kids, and he was there every single year. And I can't remember if he was there last year or not, but I always got photos of him just year after year. He ended up in the videos, and it's just really awesome to see the community come out and support our kids like that and just giving of their time. I love that.
One of the things I always love seeing is the kids playing with the little goats and other petting zoo animals. I understand we might even have some special guest animals this year. Is that right?
That's correct. We're going to have Ghost, and we're also going to have Pearl from the Rusty Bar Ranch.
Fantastic. And for those who don't know, those are mini horses. They're our own versions of Little Sebastian.
Little Sebastian.
Very famous, very loved.
Well, let's keep going with favorites, and we're going to kick it over to you, Lynette.
My favorite, once again, are the kids. They come in with their parents or guardians, and especially the little kids are so much fun. They go from booth to booth, sometimes get their face painted. They're having cotton candy. They're just skipping around, looking at all of the different characters that we have walking through the hallways. It's an enjoyable time. And it's fun for the moms, although sometimes I tell you, by the end of the day, those moms look a little hazard.
I think for me, it's probably going to be seeing the fire department out there. They do a muster, And then also having the guardians of the children next to them. If you don't know what the guardians of the children do, they step up for children who are being abused and having a rough time. They are going to court with them and standing behind them in a force of solidarity.
Yeah, some amazing people coming out to ABC Day. And Darius, I know running the show is a little stressful. I don't know if you have time to have a good time, but I'm sure you do anyway. So what's your favorite part when you're not stressing out about logistics and things like that?
My favorite part, first of all, is just seeing the community come together and see all the things that people are doing. Last year, my favorite part was when Rosie Thun jumped from the plane. I had never seen that in person before, so being out in the field and seeing her and feeling like I was 7 years old and getting all excited, that was pretty cool.
That was cool. Doug and I were out in the field for that as well. That's always an interesting sight. Deborah and Lynette, you've been doing a lot of planning for this. What advice do you have for families preparing for ABC Day? Any do's and don'ts?
Yes. Do plan to come and have fun. Don't miss out.
Very easy instructions. We can all follow that. Anything else to add? Any other do's and don'ts? Any things they shouldn't bring or should bring?
I would probably say wear comfortable shoes, dress in layers because you never know what the weather's going to hold, and bring a backpack because there's so many vendors and fun things to do. You're not going to want to carry that in your arms. You're just going to want to throw that in your backpack and keep on going.
Very good advice.
And if you're not me, you can get started on your Christmas shopping. I started mine in July, so I'm already well underway. But I have bought some Christmas presents at ABC Day before. It is a really cool place to be. So to close out our conversation, let's take the budget, Darius, for ABC Day. Let's throw it out the window. And let's dream for just a minute. If money wasn't an object, who or what would all of you want to bring to ABC Day to make it the best one ever? Connor, let's start with you.
Well, I won't take Taylor Swift because I don't want to steal Doug's thunder. I will say I would love to see the Blue Man group there.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
or Cirque du Soleil or something Vegas-y. Deborah, let me kick it to you. Who do you want to see?
I would like to see the rodeo come out for the kids. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be very cool. That's probably doable, too.
Maybe mustering for the kids. They could ride the little tiny goats and things like that.
Lynette, how about you?
I would love to see free food for everybody who comes.
I love it.
I'd love to see a Ferris wheel. And I'd love to do some radio and TV ads.
Darius, how about you?
Well, I'm going to go back to what Connor said about the rodeo being very doable. So that sounds like you just volunteered for the planning committee for next year.
You sure did.
What I like to see is I'm a huge hip-hop fan, so Kendrick Lamar and Drake maybe have a rap battle out there. I don't know if we're already ready for all that, so I was actually going to go with Taylor Swift.
But would we get to hear you, Darius? That's all we want to know. Do we get
Maybe
to
you
hear
can open
you
for
rap?
that.
I'm retired.
Love those answers. You stole my Taylor Swift answer, so I'm going to keep it more realistic. I'd love to see Rick Steves come down, sign some autographs, and talk to people about travel, maybe do a little presentation. I think that'd be fun, and he lives right up in Edmonds, so that's my pick.
Did anyone bother to invite him? He probably would show up. Maybe it's not too late. So, Rick, if you're listening, we know you're a listener. Come on down.
See, Connor keeps volunteering for more and more stuff.
I will be the Rick Steves Wrangler.
Wow.
I can volunteer for that.
Well, thank you very much, Deborah Earl McDonald, Lynette McKenna, and Darius Alexander for joining us today. All Bethel Community Day, or ABC Day, will be this Saturday, October 5th at Bethel High School from 9 to 3 p.m. Everybody come on out. That means you, Rick Steves. We'll see you all next week.